I didn't think that I'd like this game as much as I did. Not that I found passion in beating up turtles. You find yourself on a burning ship, the air thick with smoke and frantic cries of your crewmates echoing around you as charred debris rains down on them. Water rises around your ankles, pulling the vessel deeper into the abyss. You know you must jump, there's no time to waste, lest you get buried in this wooden coffin and lost in the tides of time. As sharks circle below, you steady yourself, snatch a few things from the captain's cabin, and make the leap into the unknown. How many survival games let you control your character before you're thrown into a survival situation? How many of them allow you to set the pace for the beginning of the game, incorporating a character creation or class selection of sorts by allowing you to choose starting items? Not many, and yet this simple choice lets you feel more like you are the one setting the pace for the game as opposed to dealing with prefab obstacles. It's a refreshing mechanic that makes it easier to get your bearings in a hostile environment and gives you a taste of mid-game and end-game tools, something to strive for. It also forces you to adopt a certain playstyle. For example, if you pick an armor and a weapon, you're more likely to engage in fights, while if you pick a backpack, you're more likely to want to lug around everything you find as opposed to building storage boxes along the way. When my backpack broke after countless hours of exploration, I felt handicapped and dropped whatever I was doing to make sure I repair it, and it didn't even feel like a slog. It was a welcome challenge, a nice change of pace because I was getting too content with just building my house. To be honest, I didn't care that much for the story at first. In fact, I didn't care about finishing it and leaving the islands at all. How could I? This game's base building and crafting was what I wanted Green Hell to be. Whenever I felt like I had finished building, I acquired a new resource that opened new blueprints for me to test out. And when I met a blueprint that I needed a rare resource for, that's when I sprung into action. For example, to build better walls and floors I needed iron tree branches, and to process iron tree branches I needed to upgrade carpentry workbench, which required copper ingots, which required a charcoal pile, smelter, forge, and traveling to the copper island, the next destination for progressing the story. At this point I had already unlocked and built many different things that I thought would also help me survive this venture, and I felt ready. But I got quickly put in my place. I nearly died from sweltering heat and lack of potable water. Thankfully, I discovered that I could fast travel in this game back to my home base to recover. These biomes are one of those things that keep you on your toes. Every island has its own character, and you can't really guess what the next island is going to be. And then when you arrive, not only are you faced with new challenges, you also find that there are suddenly bosses that you can fight. Well, they're not forced to. There are puzzles to solve and mysteries to uncover. You inherit the spirit of discovery from those that came before. You experience the hardships they had to endure. Just look at these waves. Feels like my shiplet will be capsized any minute now. I think a like could help it stay afloat. I love how progression doesn't seem as clear-cut either. You just keep on crafting new stuff and then suddenly find yourself so much more powerful than before. And then you decide to mentally trace back what made it so. Was it your new weapons, the fact you learned to play, the fact you don't have to worry about foods and water anymore, the skills you learned from the books or the skills you chose from the skill tree? Or maybe it's all because of a well-made skill leveling system, where you grow along with your character. After all, the more you throw the spear, the better you understand its weight, trajectory, optimal target distance, and with each successful throw your character gets skill points that make throwing easier. It's a great system. And for all its complexity, the game excels at guiding you through the twists and turns of its world. Throughout the gameplay, I only had to resort to googling once, trying to find the Tegu hide blueprint. It's refreshing for a game of this caliber to be chock full of information on every aspect of the game. I encourage you to read the entries in the menu. It has all the information on gameplay, mechanics, and story. It's great. And the fact that you can just click an item in your inventory and see every blueprint that it can be used in? Oh my crikey, is the best feature ever. You never have to overthink it. Just pick a resource, click on blueprints, you can even click the eye icon to see locked blueprints, determine if you'll ever craft any of them and dump the resource if you want. And yes, the game is so flexible that you can pick and choose what you want to craft and how you want to play. You can skip tools, you can skip boats, you can go from basic raft to catamaran if that's how your playthrough goes. It's so powerful, I wish every game with crafting had this. And it's not just this. In terms of game design, most of the things just sort of make sense. Not in the sense that they make sense in real life, but in terms of gameplay, they're very intuitive. Like, when you light a torch and then you take something else into your hand, the light doesn't go out like in every other game. I might be forgetting, but this is like the first game that I've played that has this. It's amazing. Also love the book reading aspect and that you need lights to read them and that you can put them on shelves. I loved it when I read a book and it said it gave me a chance to find resin when gathering, and I'm like, huh? There's resin in this game too? Wonder what I can use it for. And then I discovered it's just one of those materials that you can choose not to use if you want to. And it makes sense because otherwise you'd be bound to finding this book, which would be so frustrating. And you never know what a book will teach you. It's so random sometimes. A book on fencing gave me the skill of carrying 3 logs at once. But I get it. You can't find a book in the 16th century for every possible skill this game could have. Overall, I see that they have tried to fit them into the game the best way they could. It's these little things that are well thought through and implemented that make me appreciate the work that the devs put in. Yes, sure, there are unpolished things and stuff you could complain about, but do they really detract from gameplay experience that much? Arguably, it's fun to encounter bugs and nonsensical things because resource gathering does get monotonous at times, and these things bring out the flavor. I mean, 3 small sticks from scrapping an anchor? No, but that's fine. Plenty of games do this sort of thing to create the proper atmosphere without introducing late game materials into your early game. Though the physics in this game definitely will not be getting any awards anytime soon. But as I said, the non-perfect experience did not detract from the fun of the game for me. I never had any crashes or game-breaking bugs, though I must say that's a pretty low bar nowadays. The game did not hook me at all for the first couple of hours, as I was thinking it would be limited just to this starting island, which was pretty bland and uninteresting to explore, despite being a great location for your main base. When I eventually got to see the other regions, that's when I got hooked, but I don't think a game should take multiple hours to get going. Overall, it's a very chill game with no monsters that will attack and crush your base while you're away, and the resource gathering aspect is more focused on planning than grinding. Sometimes it's easier to just camp by a resource deposit than to chase the prospect of a new one. And following the tone established at the very beginning, the game allows you to explore it at your own pace throughout the entire experience. If you like base building more than survival in your open world survival games, have already played the other ones and are looking for something new, I strongly encourage you to pick this one up on sale. I will leave you with 2 videos of mine that you can check out. The tips one is structured so that you can watch it as you progress through the game, starting with beginner tips and ending with advanced tips by the end of it. And the base building, well, it is best watched after you explore the starting island and haven't really been to most of the other regions.